Oh yeah, 40 amps of charging going into this 12-volt battery, all from almost 800 watts worth of solar right here. Let me show you this beast of a charge controller. Let's unbox this charge controller. Got a little piece of foam, I've got some documentation, got a mounting template, got a whole bag full of an assortment of different types of hardware. This appears to be a temperature sensor, and here's the charger itself. It is 12 to 24 volt only. Got ports for our solar panels, our battery, and our loads. We've got a display up here with a few little buttons. We've got our temperature sensor port, as well as our RS-485 port. And check out the heatsink on the back of this thing. Pretty major. All right, we've got this MPPT charge controller outside here. I've got it hooked up to Redodo's 165 amp hour 12 volt battery. This thing is epic. Really packs some nice energy into a very compact space. I'll leave a link down in the description to my full review video of this. Hands down my favorite 12 volt battery thus far. Anyway, to test this out, I've got two 370 watt bifacial solar panels. This should over panel that charge controller just a little bit, because on 12 volt power we were only able to push in about 600 watts max. Incidentally, I got these panels from an awesome source here local to me, so if you live near or around the state of Utah or are planning on coming through on a trip, you may want to check these out because you can get these for dirt cheap and pick them up locally here from Payoff Solar. The other thing I'll leave links to is the stands that these are on. Notice that there's these bottom stands here, and then here on the side we've got these telescoping stands on the back. It also comes with some big strapping and earth screws to anchor them down to the ground, but these are fully adjustable, so you can adjust your angle very precisely. Anyway, these are from Powered Portable Solar. They make deploying full-size residential panels like this super easy, and you can set them up semi-permanently, adjust them for the season, and then if you move or whatever, it's very easy to tear down and take with you. That way you don't leave your investment behind. So at the moment, I just have the battery hooked up. If you push and hold the settings button here, it'll take you into this menu, and you can change the battery type, but we're going to leave it on the default of lithium. These buttons here scroll through the parameters, which is kind of cool. Error codes, amps, watt hours, voltage, solar panel voltage, battery state of charge, combined amps, watt hours, temperature again on the batteries, error codes. So anyway, that is the screen basically. So even though when we were cycling through the options on this charge controller and it said this battery's full, in reality we've got some capacity. We've discharged down to 92%. So anyway, that should be sufficient for our test today. This has a max input voltage of 100 volts, so we need to be sure not to exceed that. In my case, each of these solar panels is rated with a VOC of 41 volts. We're going to be more than under the max voltage limit on this. I'm hooking both of these panels up in series. So you can see the green light by the solar panel lit up here, and you can see the icon here is going into the battery. So we're charging. This battery has a smart app, so if we take a look at it here, we can see that we are dumping power in, and you can see we're pegged at 41.3 amps. Got some passing clouds, so we're getting some variation, but we are getting actually a little over 40 amps, so we are maxing this guy out at the moment. 557 watts, almost 600 watts. It's fantastic. Jumping into the MPPT monitoring app, we can see that we've got our voltage, and we've got our PV voltage, 65 volts, is being current limited right now simply because we are maxed out at the 40 amp limit. 500 watts going in, which is great. Over 500 watts. There we go, back up to 40. Like I said, we got some passing clouds here, so we're getting a little bit of fluctuation. Now down here we can control the load output, okay? That is right here. And then we've got low temperature charging protection, which I hope to test out here shortly as well. And we've just got some data down here, highest voltage, lowest voltage, how many watt hours we've charged, how much we've discharged, and max charge power. We've got the historical graphing here, which is kind of cool. And then down here in the settings, we're able to change some parameters. See how it says locked right here? I can go ahead and hit that, confirm, and now we've unlocked those settings. So now I can change the system voltage if I want. Obviously, I need to stay on 12 volt, but you can change it to 24 volt here. You can change your battery type, and then down here you're actually able to change your parameters. So for example, on the voltage, we could change the bulk charge or boost charge voltage. All of those things you can adjust based on the parameters of your battery. And that's it for the settings page. Let's talk about the load terminal here for just a second. I've got a voltmeter here and currently probing that DC load, and it is registering basically 0 volts DC. So now on the app, I can actually come here and turn the DC load on. So let's go ahead and do that, confirm. And now if you look, we're getting 14 volts, 13.7 volts out on that load there. It also has this thing, and it's really, really hard to see because of the writing. There's writing above this switch here, and you can't see it, I don't think, on the camera. But it says DC load short circuit protection. So I'm guessing if you turn that on, it's going to help sense and protect against short circuits on your DC load out on this unit. And then likewise, you're able to toggle off the load by simply hitting off, confirm, and you can see the voltage immediately shuts off to that port. So I have 2 opinions when it comes to this load port. That's really awesome if you have, say, dumb batteries. I think it's null and void if you have a smart battery like this, and I'll tell you why. If we look in the manual right here, under the specifications, the rated load current right here is 20 amps. We've got a voltage of 13.4 right now, so if I just do some simple math, 13.4 times 20, that means I can only push out 268 watts from that load port using this in a 12 volt configuration. I can double that in a 24 volt configuration. That's not very much power. That's enough to, run a light or two, but could be really challenging to run, say, like a fuse block worth of 12 volt devices like you'd have on, say, like a travel trailer or something like that. The nice thing about connecting to this, when you have dumb batteries, is that you'll be able to monitor how much power has gone out of this port in the app for this charge controller. And I guess the ability to shut it off and on remotely through the app of this. But I think that's where the benefits end. But I'll tell you what, if I was powering, an RV, let's say, and trying to run its 12 volt fuse block and all the accompanying things, slide outs and different things like that will overload this output very, very easily. So I think just connecting directly to the battery is the way to go, because this can discharge substantially more power. This has got a 165 amp continuous discharge rating. This is 20, so vast, vast difference. So I would personally get a smart battery. They're hardly that much more expensive nowadays than dumb batteries are. And I would probably skip the load terminal altogether. The only reason I'd use this, personally speaking, and I'd love to hear your comments and ideas on how you would use this port, but if there was a light 12 volt load that I wanted to be able to remotely turn off and on from the app from this charge controller, then I would use that. But if I were trying to power a vast array of 12 volt appliances, I'd just come right off the battery. Feel free to disagree with me in the comment. I'd totally be interested in hearing what you guys think. It's a hot day today, but this charge controller comes with a little temperature sensor. In the app right here, we can turn on low temperature charging protection. So let's go ahead and trigger that on. Currently we're 102 degrees. Let's stick this temperature sensor in this bag of frozen blueberries on it. Wrap it up good. Let's see if we can trigger a cold weather charging protection parameter on this. On the screen here you can see it's dropping 60 degrees, 46, 44, 42. There we go, we've hit 32 degrees, sub-freezing. It still says it's charging. Let's check the battery app quick. It's just about to switch to the other battery, and look, it says low temperature charging protection right here by that red thing. I don't know if you can see that or not. And you can see that it's gone into standby mode. No more current is going into the battery. And we've got an error E15. And if we look in the manual, E15 is under low temperature charging protection. So it says to fix that, we need to increase the temperature to 41 degrees. So let's unwrap our sensor from the frozen blueberries here. And we'll just hold it here. And there we go. So cold temperature charging protection works. I'm leaving links to everything down below: the charge controller, this awesome 165 amp hour battery, solar panel stands, solar panels. Check it all out. It's crazy how inexpensive and easy it is to do solar nowadays. Let me know what questions or thoughts you have on this down in the comments. I read and try to respond to as many of you as I possibly can. And you guys always notice things or have ideas that I don't have, and I love hearing from you. So how do you see this being most beneficial to you? Let me know. If you can't tell, I go to a lot more effort than most to test things and to give you the real scoop. If that's of value to you, and you value free content, please do 4 free things for me. Everything these days is getting stuck on subscriptions or behind paywalls and different things like that. I want to keep bringing you free content. I've learned a ton from other people that have done it, and I want to do the same for the rest of you. Please do these 4 things to help with that. That's a like, a comment, subscribe, and share. Takes just seconds for you to do, but makes a tremendous difference to the channel and will allow me to continue to do things 100% free without subscriptions or paywalls. Sure appreciate you guys, and we'll catch y'all next time.